What's up, comic book fans? Anchor Pete here. It is Thursday night. There's been a Marvel streaming show. There's been a DC streaming show, and that is my streaming bro over there, Brian Coors Hair. How you doing, my man?
Doing good, Pete.
What are you rocking tonight? You got some kind of Jurassic Park thing? It's got to be Grimlock, right?
Yeah, Grimlock, Jurassic Park. Yeah.
Nice. I think I might be wearing the same Transformers shirt I wore last time we did a show.
I don't know if I've seen that shirt before, so I don't think so.
Oh shit! Just knocked over some.
What'd you break?
yeah. It's like with Galvatron and Unicron and this sweet Scourge and
awesome,
Cyclonus. Yeah, just point out my nipples. Brian, I am so fucking excited about talking about the shows this week. How did you feel about our two shows this week?
I thought everything was great, as well as the Thor trailer. So I'm very excited to talk about all of these things. A couple days ago, before Wednesday, you asked me what I was most excited to talk about, and I said the Thor trailer because that's the only thing I had seen at that point. But at this point, I don't think I could pick.
Yeah. They're all awesome for their own reasons. I thought that Young Justice was great, and I think that might be my favorite one for this week. And then Moon Knight was just like all over the map, and we're gonna have to talk about that.
Yeah.
And then the Thor trailer, of course. There's so much to unpack with that. So let's just jump right into it. As per always, guys, if you're just joining us for the first time, whenever Young Justice is on, we talk about that first. Then we go on to whatever else is streaming, which in this case is Moon Knight Episode 4. And then we're also going to be talking about Thor, Love and Thunder, the trailer. So for Young Justice, we are up to Episode 19 of Phantoms. And I think we finally know what the plot is for the season.
Yeah, there was a major info dump in this episode from two sides. Obviously, we had said why is it called Phantoms? Why haven't we really learned more than we have yet? Up until what is this? This is number 15, 16
of the season. This is 19.
This is 19.
Yes, sir.
I can't see my computer screen. I pop a lens out of my glasses here, and I can't see.
Oh my god! No, we're deep in this shit, man. And you were right. It was like exposition central. This episode was called "Encounter Upon the Razor's Edge," and essentially the episode was broken into two parts. There was one part that
19. Okay, you're right.
Yeah, there was one part that was just literally just exposition, and it was like being told by two different sets of characters. And then there was one part that focused on things that happened on New Genesis. So what do you want to talk about first, the exposition or the New Genesis stuff?
Let's the exposition, because I really want to say that I really like when I even first saw it. I loved the cold intro, where it basically used two sides of setting up the story, where they were one of the characters on each side that said basically like spill everything now or we're not helping you. Right. Bart Allen says it, and then McCon, whatever his name is, McGonn's brother.
Says McGonn's brother, and he goes by like the name of like the wolf type creature that's on Mars. And I totally forgot about that. And it's called the Ma'al Fa'ak. And I always feel like they're saying fuck,
Yeah, it does sound like that, yes.
He's like, you better tell the Ma'al Fa'ak. And he's like totally serious without
moving. Wait, I thought we were talking about Moonlight later.
Yes. There you go. So, you're right. There's Bart Allen, and then you have Saturn Girl and Chameleon Boy, and they are revealing their whole involvement in this season. And then you have General Zod's son, who is Drew Zod, and then he's talking to Ma'al Fa'ak. Was there another bad guy there too?
Yeah, I want to say his name is Mantis or something like that. I don't really remember him. Other than him appearing last episode, I don't remember him prior to that.
Oh, okay. Mantis is like one of the apocalyptian new gods.
No, is he? Maybe. They didn't really explain who he was. They just said, "Oh yeah, you're gonna go help Zod." That's really
when it comes to like the apocalyptian new gods, we usually have like Granny Goodness, Desaad, Steppenwolf. But there's a couple other ones. There's actually one that they keep showing in the background of this season. And I'm like, who the fuck is that guy? He's this like green guy with like long white hair.
Oh, yes. I don't know who he is either, actually. Yeah, because he's with Darkseid.
Yeah.
I don't know.
We'll have to look it up.
Some informative show we are.
Yeah, right. But listen, guys, if you are watching this show, because I know we got some followers, if you guys know who that green dude is with the long hair, please let us know. Anyway, with the back and forth, it was kind of funny because I always say on all these shows that we do that I don't like exposition dumps and that Young Justice can be pretty brutal with it sometimes. And boy, was that this. But it's okay because I think that if the exposition is something that I'm interested in, I kind of give it a pass. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, I agree. I think, like I said before, the exposition really tied together everything in this season.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not the Atlantean stuff, but all the stuff on Mars and all the stuff with the Legion and Superboy. And it was appreciated in this because it kind of gives us the bigger picture on the larger arc of this season. This whole time we've been wondering what the hell happened at the end of the Mars arc, who did what, and now we know. There was Lord.
Yeah. It's a pretty convoluted thing, which involves the Phantom Zone and involves time travel. I want to try to see if I got it right, and you tell me if I'm wrong, okay?
Yep.
All right, here we go. So I think it's basically that in the future, they decide to let all the criminals out of the Phantom Zone because they feel like they've been in there too long. They weren't supposed to be in there for 1,000 years. They let them out, and they put them on Daxam, which is this planet that has a red sun, which is like Krypton. And so they don't have powers. General Zod finds a way to get off of Daxam, and then he has all these Kryptonians that are like Superman powered, and they totally ravage the universe. But luckily, the Legion of Superheroes is formed, and they're inspired by Superboy. And then they're able to defeat General Zod and put them all back into the Phantom Zone, with the exception of Drew Zod, because
Lord Zod.
Oh,
Drew Zod is like the Zod. Lord Zod is the son.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Which that's kind of interesting too. I remember thinking this during the episode, like lore, because isn't Superman's father? No, Superman's father's Jor-El.
Yeah,
I'm trying to think of who Supergirl's father is. I could have sworn there was another lore too.
There probably is.
It's all good. I'll Google that shit. But did I get it all right? Except for I got that right, except for his name, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
And so basically, what happens is he steals a time machine, and he goes to go back in time. But when he does it, the radiation particles from it touch Saturn Girl and Phantom Lass and Chameleon Boy, so they're kind of not affected by the change in time. And then he goes back in time, which essentially wipes out the Legion by killing Superboy. Or
no. So they wipe out Superboy, so the Legion was never inspired and they didn't exist.
Right. And they attempt to get Superman to be the inspiration, which that's like in the comics, Superman is the inspiration, not Superboy.
Yes, but I mean, I guess it's traditionally when he was younger.
Right.
But it is interesting that it's Connor in this series.
Yeah.
And by the way, the other L you were talking about was probably Zor-El. That's Zor-El, who is Kara's father.
Okay. Zor-El. Okay, so there's no lore. It's just Lord Zod, which is the son in this.
Yeah, I don't remember hearing. God damn, I dropped my lens. Hold on a second.
Oh, no!
I can't get it back in this goddamn frame. I'm so sorry to ruin everything here.
No, it's okay. It's a live show. It's all good. I mean, we like at least 5 times we've been like, what's that guy's name? Who's that?
Well, it's only with this show because there's so many characters in the background. It's really hard to keep up. So, but and I think we even do see Zor-El possibly in this episode in one of like the flashbacks, and where it's all like the black and red.
Right.
So yeah.
So, and then I know that it even gets more complicated because there's a part where like Lord Zod destroys one of the time machines so that like the Legion can't go back in time to change it, and then another time machine gets destroyed. It's real complicated, and basically you get to this point where the Legion thinks that Superboy is dead, and they don't know that he's in the Phantom Zone, and so they go and they make a cosmic treadmill for which they use with the ship, the bioship.
Bioship, and I also found it interesting too that they said that Bioship left the history records, so it helped to mask what they were doing.
Yeah, yeah.
So I always like those little nods to time travel and how they explain things and all that. So
yeah, and one of those nods was, and I forgot to mention this, that like Lorzod attacked the United Nations when Superboy revealed himself, and he tried to kill him there.
Yes, that's what he tried to kill him. Yeah.
So, it's kind of cool. I mean, basically, I think they're working it to the point where he's going to try to get everyone out of the Phantom Zone now and try to attack now. So we're going to get a little bit of like new Krypton from the comics, probably.
Yeah.
And I mean, it'll be real exciting to see this tremendous cast of, Justice League guys versus Kryptonian powered people.
Yeah, especially if you also when we were considering that Darkseid is in the mix here and is obviously helping him too. So, it's definitely exciting. I don't know how they're going to get everybody out there quick enough. If that happens, but and then at the same time though, I mean, we've talked about how all the main characters that we've seen in the intro have kind of gotten an arc, and then we're expecting a Nightwing arc at the end. Yeah. And I'm not exactly sure how he would factor into a war against like rogue Kryptonians.
Yeah.
Other than the whole, namesake thing, like you mentioned last time.
Yeah. I think that might be the only way they go, unless he's sort of the one that helps them figure out that Superboy is alive still. But I feel like Superboy being alive it's like he's going to come over when the rest of the Kryptonians come through,
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's the whole plot. It was real exciting to finally get it at this point. But then you have this whole other story arc that's going on through this episode, which got me so excited. Did you watch the Green Lantern animated series that came out in 2011?
I did not, but I did look up that character because I'm like, I know I don't remember some of the background characters, but I know this guy's not been on the show before.
Right. Yeah, he's from that show. He's this guy Razor, and the interesting thing about that Green Lantern show, I watched all of it. It was just one season. Is that it was like very self-contained, but yet it also had like gigantic cosmic shit at the same time.
Yeah, so basically it just kind of ignored stuff that was going on Earth, probably, right?
Exactly. Like it would focus on Razor, Kilowog, and Hal, right? And Razor was a Red Lantern. And they would fight other Red Lanterns like Atrocitus and the cat and stuff, Dexter and the little ball-looking one. And then like there was another Green Lantern that was a robot. She was kind of like a manhunter, and her name was Aya. And did you notice at the end of this episode, he's like, I'm going to go look for Aya.
Yeah. Yes.
That's go ahead.
Yeah, no, I remember I was very compelled by this character, and I thought, especially when he was using the red and blue rings at the same time, I thought like, wow, that's actually a really cool idea that I don't remember ever happening in the comic before. I'm very surprised that hasn't happened in a comic before, and I really want to see more of that character. But I feel like, after reading about it, how it's continuing that show and all that. And then even with that last line there, I feel like this was a one and done thing that we're not probably going to see any more of it, which kind of stinks.
Yeah. What got me so excited was they played it so close to that animated series. Like that's the same voice actor. Kilowog is the same voice actor.
Yeah.
And I was wondering, because you're so good with voice actors, if you recognize. So Kevin Michael Richardson, that's not the guy that was Shredder, right?
No. Well,
the guy that was Shredder died. He's from Fresh Prince.
Well, the original cartoon series had a couple different Shredders, but yes, one of the Shredders from the original series that most people probably would remember the voice was Uncle Phil from Fresh Prince. Right. Kevin Michael Richardson, he might have been Shredder in another series. He's one of those like prolific voice actors that is in so many things, but he is a very recognizable voice. God, was he Shredder in something?
Well, it's okay because like I thought his name was kind of similar to Uncle Phil's name, and then I looked him up on Wikipedia, and I didn't look at his other acting credits, but his voice I've definitely heard his voice a bunch of times in different roles.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So he's Kilowog, and then Jason Spizak. I was wondering if you knew who that was. That's Razor.
Is he an actor turned voice actor? Possibly. I do know the name, although I can't think of any particular other roles that he's had. Like it definitely sounded familiar to me.
All right,
and I can't look anything up because I can barely see my screen right now without my glasses.
Oh no! Well, do you want to see if we can go 3 for 3? And I'll give you Josh Keaton. That's Hal Jordan's name on it. That's
Josh Keaton. Josh Keaton. He's been in a lot of things. Yeah, he's another one of those guys you see everywhere. I think he Bumblebee in. He might have been a Bumblebee somewhere.
Okay. That I could totally see that the way his voice is on that show. So it really just focused on like that group with like Razor, Kilowog, Hal, and then Aya, and they would go around. It was almost like Star Trek where they'd kind of like encounter different planets and stuff. And like at one point the friggin' anti-monitor's on it, right? And Aya, something happens to her where like she kind of turns evil, and then she like disappears or is destroyed, but Razor goes looking for her. And they really did make it on this Young Justice episode like this was just a continuation of that story. And it made me think like that's part of the continuity, you know?
Yeah, and speaking of continuity too, I really like the explanation that Kilowog and Tom Moreau give about why there's so many Green Lanterns from Earth.
Yeah. And they're always referring to it as like this backwater place. Whenever you have a space show, they're always like Earth, that backwater place, you know?
Yeah.
We're just like a bunch of hillbillies or something here. But I like that they reference the fact that we make so many metahumans, or that I think Rocket said we were bleeding metahumans. That's the term she used.
I don't remember that line, but okay.
It was during the conference they had that was like the New Gods and then Rocket and then the Green Lanterns. And it was kind of cool because basically she's saying like, hey, look, we have this crisis going on and we need the support of the New Gods and the Green Lanterns. And the New Gods are basically saying like, we're not going to get involved. The Green Lanterns are like, the New Gods can't get involved because they have that like
they're free with Apocalypse. Yeah.
And then what do you call it? One of my favorite parts was when I'm kind of jumping ahead, but with the statue melting and then they like put it back together, and Orion was like, that's not the way it was before. There's a lot of humor with Orion this episode. Didn't you think that happened?
Yeah, I think it was. And also there was an interesting line. God, I don't remember the character's name. So that's one of the 6th or 7th time we said that this episode.
Yeah.
The other New God that was at that conference there, he was like, "Oh, really? You think that about Orion?" And like, you really don't know him yet, or something.
Oh yeah. Viking.
Viking.
I wrote down his name. Viking was the other New God.
Okay, I don't think I've ever even heard that name before. So.
Yeah. So Viking is kind of funny because like they're basically saying like they're not going to get involved, and then they're talking about Metron, right? And they're like, oh yeah, Metron's basically a dick, you know? Like they kind of like looked at each other.
That checks out. Metron's involved. Yeah, sorry about that.
Yeah, he sucks. Yeah, and I like the. Do you like the design of the New Gods?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And I want to say about Metron too is that from the comics, like I really felt most of the time he's more of a neutral character.
Right.
I suppose maybe you can say he leans a little on the side of good in there, but like he just looks like straight up looks like a 60s like cartoon villain in this. You know, like it really changes your perception of the character, you know?
Yeah, he's got these red eyes, right? That's what stands out the most to me.
Yeah, but even like his eyebrows like slant in like a certain way to denote like, oh, this guy's up to no good.
Right. Yeah, and he kind of had a fucked up plan. He was basically like manipulating Razor to see what the Red Lantern would do, right? Or the Red Ring would do, right?
Yeah. I mean, he basically led him on an empty quest for 4 or 5 years, just so he can like run some tests, you know?
Yeah.
Messed up.
Yeah. And so, Razor kind of starts to go crazy. He gets the Red Ring and he's all powered up and he's kind of destroying things that are in Supertown. And then there's Forger, that's the boy that we know from the Outsiders team. And there's Forger, that's the girl. and they kind of have this moment where they're like, Forger loves Forger, and they're like, Forger loves Forger too, right? And they like put their hands together, and it almost looked like one was going to jerk the other off or something with like an extra hand.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if there'll be some baby Forgers in the future from that scene.
Oh, absolutely, yes. Forger will take your pupa inside. But anyway, so they're doing that, and like the stuff falls down and it lands on the girl Forger, and it looks like she might die. But then luckily, Razor's blue lantern ring starts to work, and he's able to save her. And I really, really like that so much because I'm pretty sure you don't see blue lanterns in that animated series. I might be wrong though. The Green Lantern animated series.
Being that I haven't seen it, I wouldn't know. So, but like I said, the concept of a dual color lantern is like really cool to me, and I really I'll be very disappointed when they don't show him ever again.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. And I mean, like, maybe he can come in eventually. Like, you're right. They probably won't ever show him again. But like, they have these things on the show where people are sort of like the amalgamation of a bunch of different powers. Like Halo is like a mixture of a bunch of different powers, and he's the two rings. There's a lot of like sort of like superhero experimenting going on. And I think that like that's where you get these really powerful weapons that could take on Darkseid, you know? And that brings up one last thing too. There was this one device that looked like a mother box at the very end of the episode, and I was like, what the fuck is that? It was called the Kaiser Thrall. Do you remember that?
Yes, I did hear that, and I did not remember to look up on that.
Yeah. It was so weird. Like, I know I was reading a comic called Justice League Odyssey that came out a couple of years ago. It was written by Joshua Williamson, and it was like after a lot of the crazy stuff in Scott Snyder's Justice League run, right?
Big difference.
Yes. And Darkseid had like a weird kind of mother box that was like a unique mother box, and I was like, oh, is that the same thing? But it was not called a Kaiser Thrall. I think it was called a father box or like a grandfather box. But I don't know what the fuck
I do remember. I think I do remember something about a father box from Justice League Odyssey. But I mean, I think I only read the mini series leading up to whatever the hell event they were doing at the time.
Yeah. But I don't know. I mean, they got the cosmic treadmill going by the end of the episode. You know, the Legion are working with Bart. I feel like there's going to be some time travel shenanigans now, and I don't know what that's going to do.
Yeah, I'm curious to see where we go. We have probably at least 2, if not 3 more episodes of this arc. So you know, plenty of time to flush all this out.
Yeah. Did you have anything else you wanted to say about this episode?
Jay Garrick's 102.
Yeah. I don't know how they explain the Justice Society still being around. Did they ever do that?
No, they have not.
Yeah.
I mean, they're definitely older, but they have not explained that.
In the comics, it's kind of been like that they were like frozen in time or something like that. That they like were in another dimension for like a couple of years. They basically, after like World War II, had to retire, but it was either like retire or expose your secret identities. And then like after that, they were like stuck at a time or something like that, and they came back.
Yeah.
But it's like
originally they were a different Earth too, weren't they?
Yes. But like it's just like with Captain America, how like, you know, essentially he was frozen and didn't age for like decades, but they still kind of talk to him as if he's like 90 something years old or whatever, you know?
Yeah, it's always an interesting conundrum with comics. I mean, I think the most interesting character with that is by far is Magneto, because he technically wasn't frozen anywhere, and he was in World War II, and that's getting further and further away.
Right. That is. I knew you were going to bring up that point as soon as you were like the most interesting character. I knew that's who you were going to mention. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's the kind of the funny thing about keeping these characters that have been around since like the 30s, the 40s, the 50s, right? But that friggin' song with Forger singing, the two Forgers, that was awesome.
Yeah, that was something.
Those end credit scenes for Young Justice are just so perfect.
Oh, we have to mention, since we didn't mention it on the episode last week, You have to mention that the previous episode, Superman name drop Peacemaker as a potential replacement or what is it? Reserve Justice League member. So I hope they put him in there. I'd be so curious to see that.
And I would be so happy if it was voiced by John Cena.
Yes, and I think he's done voice acting before, so I mean, why not?
Yeah. What's he been in? I know that he was in like the Scooby Doo WWE crossover.
He was in the most recent Ninja Turtles cartoon, Rise of the TMNT. He was the villain, Baron Draxum, something like that.
Oh,
he was like the main villain in that show.
Okay. Yeah, that show, I think that was like on the old Turtles cartoon that we watched. I think that like eventually they were done with Shredder and Krang, and I think that was the villain at the very end of like the 90s Turtles, and I think they brought him back.
Yeah, I wasn't still watching it by then, so I was, not really aware of anything that was going on there.
Right. So, yeah, that's pretty much our Young Justice episode 19 review, and now we can move on to Moon Knight, which was just fucking batshit crazy of an episode.
Yeah, absolutely.
The episode was entitled The Tomb, and it's the 4th episode. It was once again directed by two guys, Benson and Moorhead, who they have a lot of experience with horror movies and also just sort of visually stunning kind of movies. And I thought that this episode had quite a few like really interesting shots.
Yeah, but which shots were interesting to you?
The one that like stood out to me the most, it might not even be the most exciting one, but there's one part where Layla gets attacked by a mummy and it like drags her into the shadows, and then she runs out of the shadows and then it drags her back into the shadows.
Yeah, very cool. Horror movie shot there. Yeah.
So let's unpack this episode because it's fucking weird as hell. Like the first part is like Indiana Jones or Tomb Raider, right?
Yes, and to be honest, outside of those like little bit of horror nods there, I was actually thinking like, this is a little boring today. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But then it kind of turned itself on its head later on. But let's cover the other stuff first.
Yes.
So yeah, they're exploring and they find this tomb, and apparently it's Alexander the Great. They get ambushed, not ambushed, but they're surprised by those like weird Egyptian zombie things, which to me sounded like clickers from The Last of Us. Yeah.
It's interesting with those zombies because I felt like that sequence where the zombie captured one of Arthur Harrow's men. I thought that was like maybe the most disturbing thing I've seen in a Marvel show or movie.
Yeah, he basically it was practically like a vivisection.
Yeah,
he took something out of him, didn't he?
Yeah. And so you hear these noises and it's like organs coming out of his body and he's putting them into like a bowl and stuff. And I was just trying to think of another Marvel movie where it gets that graphic, and I couldn't think of anything off the top of my head.
No, I don't think so. I mean, they didn't show it really, but I mean,
right.
Heavily implied.
Yeah. And so I had the same exact feeling, man. Like I was sitting there watching that first half, and I just started to think, I was like, are these Marvel shows as good as we're giving them credit for? Like, they do all kind of have flaws, and it feels like a lot of it is filler. Like, is this just filler? What the hell's going on here? And it was really once Mark got shot and the episode turned on its head that it got really interesting. But
to answer your question before that, though, to answer your question about are these Marvel shows actually good? Are we giving them too much credit? Yeah, I think it feels especially true with this show is that a lot of the credit is built upon the backs of what's come before it, mm-hmm. and the promise of what's coming after it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that if we were looking at these shows as like a standalone thing, they may not be anywhere near as interesting.
Okay.
Maybe a show like WandaVision would be, because it was the gimmicky premise of the sitcom things. But I think you're feeling that in this show more because there is no really prominent connection to anything prior, and
Yes.
potentially not connected to anything after. I mean,
Yeah.
we have the idea that maybe we'll see some kind of gore reference or something like that coming up in the next 2 episodes. 2 episodes. Oh my god!
Only two.
Yeah, with 2 episodes, that makes me feel like it's not going to happen. But yeah, I think yes, that we're elevating these shows based on their larger connections.
Yeah, very, very well put. And so I too, like you, I was just kind of watching it, and it seemed very disjointed too. Like I can't really. It's hard to explain, but like the interactions that Mark had with Layla, they were like a little off, and it was odd. Like she was sort of alluding that he reminded her of Mark. And I should point out that it's not Mark. It's fucking
Steven.
What's the British Steve, right? Stevie.
Steven, yeah.
So Steven, and so they're having these interactions, and he's all awkward, and then she's kind of kissing him, and then like they're looking around the sarcophagi. It kept feeling like starting and stopping, like where they're starting to talk about something and then they're just moving on, and it didn't feel like natural progression of scenes. Does that make sense, what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think so. I can agree with that.
It just, I was like, what is going on? And I don't know if that's intentional. I don't know if it's to make it make the second half of the episode make more sense, because the second half of the episode, it just all of a sudden switches into Legion, right?
Yeah.
so basically what happens is Layla and Mark find these zombies, and they get chased by them, and she's able to take one out, and then Mark is separated from her. She talks to Harrow, and he basically reveals to her that Mark was there when her father was killed. And basically what happened to her father is what we all suspected. It's like what happened at the origin of Moon Knight. He was killed most likely by Bushmen, right?
Yeah.
And the two of them, it seems like, they're going to separate. She goes off on her own, and then Mark gets shot. Now we think, okay, well, he can't get brought back to life or anything like that because Khonshu is missing.
No suit. They even make that they even state that out loud, that no suit, no powers, no healing earlier in the episode.
Oh yeah, exactly. So then we cut to a mental institute, and I was looking it up online, and someone correctly compared this to one of my favorite Moon Knight runs. It was Jeff Lemire and Greg Smallwood's Moon Knight run, where
I've seen it. I have those issues and I have not read them yet.
Oh yeah, but it's just like that. And the cover of it is very iconic. I think it's like Moon Knight, but his white costume is made out of like a straitjacket.
Yes.
So he kind of looks like a Ku Klux Klan member too, a little bit. It's a little weird.
I was gonna almost make that comment, but I decided not to. But
yeah. We can say Ku Klux Klan member, or he kind of looks like Cobra Commander, who sometimes looks like a
white Cobra Commander, yeah. Which is basically, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, but I feel like it was like Legion, just not as good as Legion. What do you think?
Yeah, but at the same time, Legion had more episodes to flesh it out. This was, 15, 20 minutes tops at the end. No, not even 15 minutes at the end of the episode to cram in, how many references to every other thing in the previous 3 episodes that you could think of.
Yeah. So do you think that they're going to go with the idea that he actually is in the mental institution? What do you think is going on there?
No, I mean, if they did that, it would be interesting, because I feel like I don't expect that.
Yeah,
it would be unexpected if that was true. I think everything has happened for whatever reason, and it would be weird if they had this whole show. I mean, they've kind of pretty much already said that this show and Hawkeye are limited series. Yeah. I think when they submitted it to the Emmys or Golden Globes or something like that, they submitted it as a limited series. So This is a one and done. And I think if it was all in his head the whole time, I don't. First of all, I don't know how the hell it resolves in a satisfying way, and then it's
Right.
like, what the hell is the point the whole time? Like
Right.
why make this show?
Right. Yes, exactly.
So it can't the psycho stuff can't be real.
Yeah. Okay, but then I kept thinking that too. I'm like, all right, well, this is just some sort of like weird aside, but how are they going to explain that story wise? Are they going to say that he's like in this sort of in between state because he's dying? Like why is that happening?
I have a feeling the hippo god, which is it Tauret? God, what was it?
So that's not Amit.
No, it's not. No. That's hold on, let me look it up.
Yeah.
I'm
glad you have your glasses back.
Tauret. Tauret is it's like a goddess of like childbirth and like something else. But it seems like I feel like she is going to be responsible for bringing him back in some manner. That's why she shows up there, and she's gonna have something to do with getting him back alive in some manner.
Okay. Yeah, it says that she's like a goddess of like birth or something.
Yes, yeah. So maybe you could attribute it to rebirth of some kind. I don't know.
Yeah. So as Mark is going through the mental institution, he opens up a sarcophagus and he lets Steven out. But then they go to another room and there's another sarcophagus that's sort of moving. So you think that that's another personality?
Yes, that's got to be Jake. So I think I saw one headline on somewhere, and I didn't get to go back and look at the episode to check, but somebody got a screen capture of one of the scenes with Steven in looking at the sarcophagus, and the reflection you see actually has a mustache.
Oh,
and there have been times where Jake Lockley has been depicted with the mustache. So I mean, I still think that in that first episode when he's in that village or whatever, and he wakes up and he's got all the blood in his hand, I'm still pretty sure that was probably Jake and not actually Mark, and they just didn't tell us that, and we didn't think about it then. So.
Oh man, I would absolutely love that if when he becomes Jake, he just all of a sudden has a mustache.
Yeah, I don't know how the hell they'll pull that off. I mean, unless they have I hope they have a better mustache guy than Zack Snyder did.
Oh, got him! Yeah, but I love that. I love that goofiness of comics where like a character all of a sudden has a mustache or the mustache goes away. Of course, I think of Red Hulk. That's like the prime example.
Oh my god, yeah.
Right.
How badass would he look with the mustache though? Like
how badass
with the big fucking mustache, like.
Yeah, shit. Yeah. In the comics, there's another Red Hulk after Thunderbolt Ross isn't the Red Hulk anymore, and he has a badass mustache too.
Was that in Immortal Hulk or?
He was not in Immortal Hulk. What happened was Sunspot, right? He took over AIM, and then AIM became U.S. Avengers. He had his own Avengers team, and he had Cannonball and Squirrel Girl and all these other people, right? And he had his own Red Hulk, but it was like a soldier that became Red Hulk.
Okay.
And it's really good. It's written by Al Ewing, too, if you ever want to check it out.
Yeah, I like his work, so I can definitely check that out.
Nice. So, yeah, we got 2 episodes left. Who knows what the fuck is going on in this show? What do you think is going to happen?
I mean, there's got to be some kind of confrontation that's resolved with Harrow, and maybe Amit gets resurrected, maybe not. I don't really know. The only other things I wanted to bring up that was kind of more minor Easter eggy things is with Layla. Obviously, with the confirmation of her backstory, like she essentially is Marlena Al-Rune or whatever the hell you say it, but they just changed the name to sound more Egyptian. And now the interesting thing about the name is that this is a detail I found on a site.
Sure.
In the mental institution, and even in the scene beforehand when they're in the desert, you see there's a little beetle walking around at some point, and you just see it like kind of it's kind of seeing them off in the distance.
Right.
And in the mental institution, when she's like putting something on that like a postcard on the board or something, you see she has a Band-Aid on her finger with a red scarab. And there's a very obscure Invaders villain named the Scarlet Scarab.
Really?
And his alter ego is Abdul Faul.
What?
So I'm wondering if that's just like a little nod because they took that name and then just transplanted it onto the Marlena character. But it was interesting because I feel like we've seen Beetle-like things a few times, with the Scarab or that directs them to Amit's tomb, and
right.
We've seen a few other times in the show as well.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's just like a real deep cut nod or some kind of foreshadowing because we did get Midnight Man in episode 3 as kind of a one and done cameo probably. So who knows? Maybe we'll get some other canon Moon Knight villains.
Yeah, and
even though he's not a Moon Knight villain, never mind.
Right, but I wouldn't be surprised if like she got some kind of power like the suit from another Egyptian god and like helped Mark, and then he had Khonshu's power, and then maybe Harrow has Amit's power, and then they're all kind of like Power Rangers where they all have like suits and they fight. Like I could totally 100% see that,
Yeah.
And you mentioned Easter eggs, and I was gonna say my wife actually she told me this. I thought this was super interesting. Do you know where the term Easter eggs comes from?
I guess I don't.
Okay, so the reason why they call them Easter eggs in movies is because when they were filming the Rocky Horror Picture Show, the cast took a bunch of Easter eggs and hid them on the set. And what happened was they cleaned up the set and got rid of the Easter eggs to shoot the movie, but they didn't get all of them. So that way, when you're watching the movie, you see these Easter eggs. And so that's where the term comes from.
Next time I watch that, I'm going to have to look out for that.
Yeah. I thought that was so cool. Sherry told me that, and I was like, oh, that's awesome. Now I know where that comes from, See, we're teaching people some shit on here. So unless you got any more Moon Knight, I'm ready to get in some Love and Thunder.
Yeah, I think I'm good.
Sweet. Okay. So, were you underwhelmed by this trailer?
No.
Okay.
I wasn't. I mean, this is a teaser trailer. This is not a full trailer. This is a teaser. And I think that I was a little disappointed we don't really see a villain or the conflict. It's more about Thor's journey and character arc in this. But I was just so happy to finally see it, to see Jane Foster. Just to finally see it again. Yeah. And it's I can understand why someone would be underwhelmed by it, but again, teaser trailer, like they're not going to give away everything. If that was the theatrical trailer, whatever the hell you want to call it, like the main trailer,
right?
I would probably agree and be disappointed, but for teaser, I think it's more than a minute and a half. I think that's pretty damn good.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. Like, don't get me wrong, right? I enjoyed it. The thing is, though, is that I think that when the teaser trailer for Ragnarok came out, I think that was like a turning point for the MCU. And I think it was definitely a turning point for Thor because we knew about Taika Waititi. We thought, oh, he's going to do something weird. He's going to do something fun. And then the trailer starts and it's like Immigrant Song by Led Zeppelin. And like, it's just got this sort of neon crazy 80s, like, logos and shit flying at you. And then the Hulk shows up and he's like, he's a friend from work. It just was like this moment when this trailer came out. It's kind of like when the Guardians trailer came out too, the very first one.
Yeah. And, I mean, I feel like there were some moments in this, for me, there were some moments in this trailer. Seeing the opening shots of Thor running and you see the classic costume, that was kind of one. The joke over Star-Lord's voiceover, I mean, that's a perfect Taika Waititi kind of style joke, or I mean, very Ragnarok joke, and I appreciated that, and I did enjoy the kind of the very brief, rivalry that they had at the end of the of Endgame. And then obviously seeing Jane, Natalie Portman, in the full suit and the hammer restored was a huge moment for me to see.
Yes. A lot of people are debating like how did the hammer get put back together. Some people are saying that like she touched it on Earth. Mr. Sunday had a video about the trailer this morning, and they showed that there is sort of like this shrine to the hammer itself on Earth where it was broken. And so they were kind of speculating, did like Jane go there and touch the hammer and it reformed? They were wondering if like Peter Dinklage's character like remade it. What do you think?
My main theories were going to be Peter Dinklage. What the hell is his name? I don't remember. Something with a T, I think.
We got to make this like a
drinking game.
Well, drinking. I said that last week, but maybe like a Mad Libs, where like someone just fills in all the names, like in the comments. You meant this person. You meant this person. You know, and it could also be a drinking game too. I'm actually gonna look up his name as you keep going, though.
Yeah, and then this is my real like crazy left field idea that has something to do with Zeus. Now, my thoughts on that is that obviously we do see Olympus, we do see Zeus. We know that Russell Crowe is playing Zeus, and there's a scene. It's like a real wide shot of them entering Olympus, and you can see that both Thors are there, Korg is there, and Valkyrie is there. I'm pretty sure it's Valkyrie. And I just imagine that maybe Jane was there for some reason, or I don't know. Maybe I just think that maybe Zeus, who is the kind of like the All Father equivalent for the Greek gods, and also the god of lightning for might have some kind of way to put that together. I don't know. That's my like super crazy left field, random, non-comic canonical guess.
Yeah, I think that you're not too far out there though. Like they do make a point to show like a metal lightning bolt, right? And Mr. Sunday was speculating, is that like his equivalent of Mjolnir, where it's like he needs that to channel the lightning, right? Yeah. And so I could see him totally remaking Mjolnir if he could make something like that. Because there's no Odin to make that hammer. And Peter Dinklage, by the way, is Eitri.
Eitri, okay. So there's a T in there, at least I don't know.
Yeah. But your speculation makes me wonder about Natalie Portman's role, right? Because from this trailer, it looks like she shows up and Thor's like, "Who's this?" Or like, "Whoa, it's a lady Thor," right? But it's making me wonder if because he in the trailer says that he doesn't want to be a fighter anymore and he wants to like make peace, right? And so maybe he goes off and does his own thing while gods are being slaughtered, and maybe she kind of learns about it because she was a scientist, right? And so she is always studying like the travel and how to open gates and shit in space. Like maybe she kind of learns about Gore first, and like we have to do something about it. And Thor's like, "It's not my problem," and then she gets the hammer to step in as Thor, because I don't think they're gonna do the cancer angle.
Yeah, so let's talk a little bit about the comic origins of Jane becoming Thor. So in the comics, Mjolnir did not get destroyed. And what happened was Thor was judged to be unworthy.
Right.
And he lost the ability to lift the hammer. Right. And that's when he goes to make to get
Stormbreaker.
Stormbreaker, yes. No, it's not called Stormbreaker. Stormbreaker is Beta Ray Bill's weapon. It's called
I'll look that up too.
Yeah, it's like Yarnbjorn or something like that. It's some very Norse sounding thing.
Yarnbjorn. Yeah.
Yeah, I got that right?
Yes, you did.
Holy
Yarnbjorn.
Shit. I really pulled that out of my ass.
that would hurt to pull that out of your ass.
Yeah, it's a big axe. So he goes to get that weapon and uses that instead. And then, there's a bit of a mystery, and then she doesn't come around for a while. There's a couple months, I'd say at least too, where the hammer's just sitting there in like the blue area of the moon, and then eventually, you see the female Thor, and you don't know exactly who it is. I mean, everybody kind of guessed it was Jane, but it wasn't 100% certain. I think that some people were guessing that it was the Shield agent that was in the Thor books, whose name I can't remember.
Right.
But Thor was judged unworthy, and it was because of his interactions with the villain of this movie, Gore. And I believe the line that is it the Watcher that says it to him? Not the Watcher.
That says it, that Gore was
it's an original sin. Who in original sin tells him?
Nick Fury says that to him.
Nick Fury says Gore was right.
Right.
And that made him, question himself, and then the hammer considered him unworthy.
Right.
So there was no destruction of the hammer, and it was just not used by Thor at the time. And then Jane found it. Jane was battling cancer. Jane was fighting for, she was doing work, helping Asgard and helping other people while she's like sick herself. And, and then she was chosen basically. And, and Thor's off kind of doing his own thing at that point. And she was really the stand-in for Thor. But I think Thor is still, he's not present on Earth, but he's out doing something somewhere, it sounds like. So,
yeah. And it's always this weird thing in the comics. I was trying to explain this to my friend Mike, that the way that Thor was first introduced in the comics, it was like there was a guy, Alan Blake, right? Or
Donald Blake,
who, discovered this like stick in a cave, and he like hit it and it turned into Mjolnir and he became Thor. And it was kind of like this guy would turn into Thor. And they've like retconned that to be like Thor, that's always been him. And it just, he had to be humbled by his dad. And in the movies and in like the Ultimate Universe and stuff, that just isn't the case. Thor is just Thor to begin with.
Yeah.
And Donald Blake doesn't exist at all. So to like give the power of Thor to Natalie Portman, it's kind of weird too, because it's just not that kind of connection there. In the first Thor movie, Anthony Hopkins, Odin, like takes the hammer from him and like kind of takes off his costume, but he doesn't really like take his power or anything away from him.
Yeah, he's still a god. He's still got all
Right.
this ability in him, but he just doesn't have a magic hammer that shoots lightning out of it.
Yeah. I really like, and I think they've kind of done this in the comics, but I really do like in Ragnarok, where it's like the hammer just essentially like focuses your power, whereas like you have the power of thunder inside of you. I like that a lot.
Yes.
But it's like Natalie Portman doesn't have that power, so it's like, unless it's like some sort of like residual thing that Mjolnir has because of being connected to Thor. I don't know.
Or it could be some kind of Zeus connection. Who knows?
Ooh, I like that too. I like Russell Crowe having a bigger kind of part. I feel like he's going to have like a kind of a cameo part, sort of similar to like Jeff Goldblum as the Grandmaster.
As soon as I heard he was being in it, I'm like, oh, Gore's going to kill him real quick.
Right.
Absolute first thought.
Right, exactly. But it would be kind of cool if like he's around a little bit longer. And I really like your idea of like that's where she gets the lightning from. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
Do you think we'll see a Hercules?
I was just going to ask you that. So there was a shot in the trailer where somebody, I saw a few people say that they think it looks like someone was edited out, much like the No Way Home trailer when you see Lizard getting punched, but it just looks like there's an empty space there that needs to be filled. And some people were speculating that it might have been Beta Ray Bill, which would be awesome to see.
Yes.
But I'm kind of wondering if maybe that's Hercules.
Yeah.
But I feel like we would have heard about a casting of Hercules by now, Like they can easily keep Beta Ray Bill under wraps, I think.
Right. He's a big CGI guy.
It's a horse guy, like looking guy. So, but if they're gonna have Hercules be in there and have some kind of some kind of role or potential future role, it would have to be someone more permanent, or maybe even a name.
That'd be cool. I mean, I know that they've even talked about like Bast being in the movie too, the goddess from Black Panther.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't hear that. Interesting.
Yeah, there's all these rumors too. Yeah, and I mean, a lot of the points that we've made, I've seen in like other YouTube videos and stuff, and on websites, on Twitter. You know, and everyone keeps pointing out how like the one shot in the trailer just looks like this panel from Isak Ripid's artwork. You know, it just looks like I showed that to you on Twitter, or maybe no, I think you showed that to me. But I mean, Taika clearly is able to kind of get that comic book energy in his, and you can tell that he loves comics. I think it's going to be a great fucking movie. I just wonder how they're going to do it. You know?
Yeah.
Absolutely. I like the touch of Guns N' Roses too as the song.
Yeah, no, I mean, especially with the Zeppelin classic rock kind of thing, just linking it to more heavy metal makes sense to me.
Yeah. Did you have one other point you were going to make?
Yeah, I was kind of wondering if we would the other person they thought that might have been in that erased from that spot would have been Loki. I'm curious if he will pop up here at all, but I mean we have to consider too that this is a totally different Loki. But it would feel weird to have a Thor movie without Loki, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I didn't even think about that for a second. That's interesting. Yeah, this would be the first one out of 4 that would not have Loki in it. I wonder. Yeah.
And then the last thing I wanted to talk about is that, you know, being that this is the 4th movie, this is the 4th solo Thor movie, and you know Thor's been in countless other, not countless, but you know 5 or 6 other movies, as either a star or cameos. What do you think happens to Thor at the end? I mean, does Jane take the mantle? Is Jane now the Thor of the MCU? Does Thor die? Does he just go off and becomes All-Father?
Yeah, I think that there's definitely potential for Thor to die. I definitely think that. I think that more likely he would become the All-Father, which it'd be like, okay, well, they did this kind of empowering thing with Valkyrie by making her the King Valkyrie, right? So it would seem like, oh, are you contradicting that? But yeah, it does make sense for him to die off. I do think, like, kind of just going back to that point that I made before, that Thor Ragnarok really, I think, was a big turning point for the MCU. I feel like that was like when it's like, this is the MCU, like, you can't fuck with this. This is just the biggest thing.
It's easily in my top 5 movies. I think it's my 3rd or 4th, honestly.
Right. And I most people I talk to, it's in their top 5 too. Like one of my friends, I think it's his favorite. And so I feel like that they don't want to get rid of Chris Hemsworth, and he doesn't seem to be like Chris Evans, where it's like he might have other interests now, you know, kind of moving away. So I think they might just keep him around still, you know?
Oh, I mean, I think there's no question about them wanting to keep him around. It's just a matter if he wants to stay and, you know, have to stay in that shape and all that. Because I know that's a very taxing part of this. And I really, I mean, if not for the kind of curveball that Ragnarok was, you know, we wouldn't have this movie. It absolutely revitalized the character. If that movie didn't happen and didn't hit like it did, you know, Thor would have died in Endgame.
That's right. No, dude, Thor would have died in Infinity War.
Infinity War, yeah.
Thanos would have just killed his ass. Yeah. So,
he would have said, you should have went for the head and then cut his head off.
Oh shit! Oh man, that's fucking bleak.
Yeah,
and then he snapped. You know, then he would do the snap.
Yeah,
damn. Should have went for
the
head.
Thor's head disappears and his body is still laying there.
Oh my god! Oh man, dude, you let out the gold right at the very fucking end, right here.
Oh man.
Oh man, yeah. What number of fucking Marvel movie is this? Like 20?
No, I lost count. It's got to be 20. Wait, is there anything else? Nothing else is coming out between this. So this has got to be like 25 or 26.
Yeah. Phase 4. Just looking this shit up right now. Google's really sucking tonight, by the way. It just said it's phase 4. I know it's phase 4. I want to know which number it is. You know. Let's see. Let's see if I can pull it up real quick.
Well, Eternals was 26th. That was the last one, right? No.
Spider-Man was after Eternals.
27. Yeah. This is 28 then.
Oh my god! Wow.
Holy shit.
That is fucking crazy. Yeah. But I'll be seeing it, opening night.
No, I'm sorry. No, 29 because we're going to get Doctor Strange.
Doctor Strange. Holy shit. 29. Yeah. Oh, man. Okay. He looks pretty awesome.
I have a feeling, too, that we're not going to get another movie this year.
Oh, what do you mean? Like COVID?
Well, the next scheduled movie is supposed to be Black Panther, and I feel like we've heard so little about that. There's just no way that that's hitting whatever November date it was supposed to hit or something.
Oh yeah.
And
and there's controversy on that with the actress plays Shuri, right?
Yes, yeah. Although I've read some accounts that some of it's like made up, and it's just like she was hurt or something like that, and that's why production shut down or something. I don't know. But based on how frequently these movies are shifting lately, like we just saw DC shift a whole bunch of movies back pretty far, and then Into the Spider-Verse got pushed back about 6 or 7 months.
I saw that this morning. Yeah, that's crazy, man. Yeah, COVID's still fucking things up. No, it's just COVID's fucking things up, and I mean Ezra Miller's fucking things up too.
Yeah.
Like people's heads, he's like throwing chairs at them and stuff,
That gif you sent me was made my day, absolutely.
Yeah.
Him running his flag up. Here comes Ezra going for another assault.
Yeah, in Hawaii. Yeah. It's so fucked up. I just feel bad for DC, man. They just can't catch a break.
Yeah. So with him and Amber Heard and Barry Keoghan, which is kind of on both sides, I suppose. But yeah. But then again, I mean, Marvel's had their fair share too. I mean, there's I guess one of the main things against Letitia, what's her name? Letitia Wright.
We got to stick one other person there. Who's that? What's that? Yeah, sure. Let's see.
Anyway, supposedly she was very anti-vaccine and all that, and just as Evangeline Lilly was with Ant-Man. So I mean, they have their fair share of problems too with actors.
Yeah. It's fucking crazy. It's crazy that we even get to see any of these movies, right? But luckily Marvel has been consistent. DC not so much. But this one we know is definitely coming out July 8th, which is the day before my daughter's birthday. So I'm hoping maybe I can take her to go see it.
Nice. Awesome.
Yeah, man. So next week we have Young Justice episode 20. We have Moon Knight episode 5. And that brings us really close to Doctor Strange. I think that's the next week, right?
No, isn't Doctor Strange late May?
I thought it was like 2 fucking weeks.
Oh, May 6th. Holy shit. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So Brian and I will do our usual stuff, our Moon Knight, our Young Justice until it's done. But we will definitely do a Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness episode 2. If you guys like listening to guys kind of be like, what's that person's name? Who's that? If you like that shit for some reason, then definitely like and subscribe. And we are here every Thursday night, 9:15 Central Time. Until then, we will see you.